Hello, all, and welcome to this. To the few people that are probably here, did this kind of last minute, so I don't expect a lot of people here, but I thought I would go over just some stuff because lots of stuff has basically happened in like the last, I don't know, like crazy. I guess it's not that much stuff has happened, but um, let's see. I didn't write anything down, like I never do, so we will see how this goes. Um, but let's get started, I guess. Huh? So what's all happened? So let's start with the fact that WWE um, has gone a little crazy and maybe a good way after Dynamite topped Raw in the rankings or in the ratings. They kind of jumped and kind of did some cool stuff, and so they beat them. It's not the same night. It's not the same thing. WWE Raw went up against Monday Night Football, got slaughtered, lots of stuff. But it happened, and especially after what happened the week before, where the same thing happened. And so what we got was WWE on Monday hot shotting the title on the Big E, basically admitting, basically telling everyone, "Hey, Big E's gonna cash in his briefcase," basically admitting that he's going to win. You're gonna get a title change on TV. On top of that, you're getting Lashley and Orton as well. So kind of a big show, and they still got slaughtered by Monday Night Football, which is prone to happen. So that was a thing. And what else happened?
Is this working at all?
Yes, it is. So that happened, and then we had and Big E won the title, which seems like something that should have happened forever ago, and didn't, unfortunately. And will it mean anything? I think that's the big question, because I didn't. Thank you, Jim. Everything everything's set up so that it doesn't seem like he's going to be long term. They basically gave Lashley an out. I would expect that Lashley will undoubtedly win, or he's taking on Goldberg. So this is an out for Goldberg to be able to beat him. So that's good. And I guess, I don't follow. I know what goes on in WWE, but I'm not big into WWE, so I couldn't tell you exactly everything going on. But I guess that's good. But the question is are they going to give Big E like a real reign? Are they going to give him a reign that it's actually going to mean anything? And I think that's kind of the bigger issue. On the fact that at least we're getting, we got that. We got Big E as champion, which is like a long overdue. But I think the bigger question really is, like I said, do they have any long-term plans? Are they going to basically let him be champion, let's say, through WrestleMania? Is that going to happen? I have no faith in that, but I guess we'll see. I think we'll have a really good barometer this coming Monday, when it will be the family or whatever the Usos and Roman Reigns are versus the New Day. That's a big match, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Hey, that's a match that should have probably been on like Survivor Series," and I agree. But it's evident that WWE, it feels like they can't like sit around and not do anything anymore, and that part's good. You would hope, you would think, but I think we'll get a really good look to see if what they think of Big E as champion, because if they let him go in there and they let him kind of look good against Roman Reigns, that says something. That's a good thing. That's something that we will see. And meanwhile, on SmackDown, you have Roman Reigns and you have Brock Lesnar. They're going to fight at or have a match at Saudi Arabia Blood Money, and it will be what it is. Completely overlooking Hello, Marquine. Completely overlooking, Finn Balor, who's going to go in as the Demon. And maybe I'm wrong, and I didn't look this up, but I seem to remember that the Demon has the Demon lost ever. I don't think the Demon in WWE has lost. Yes, I was watching live when that happened. Gage and Suzuki. We'll get to Gage and Suzuki. That is a thing that will, I think, it's interesting. It's interesting that we're getting, so all of that's happening. Yeah, I could, I don't think anyone really even cares about, Finn Balor at this point, which is sad because it's Finn Balor. People used to care about him. People used to care about him a lot. And it's like, whatever at this point. So that happened. And then we had NXT 2.0, which again I didn't watch, but I'm just going by what other people said, which is probably not the best thing. But I didn't watch it. But if you've watched this channel and you've heard me talk about NXT, or if you follow me on Twitter at all when I talk about NXT, one of the big problems with NXT is that it stopped being developmental. Now, part of that is not Triple H's fault. Part of that is WWE and Vince McMahon's fault by basically saying, hey, we got to stop Ring of Honor. Hey, we got to stop these indies from basically piggybacking off our show. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. Hey, we need all of this stuff. And so he went around and he signed up all the top indie guys. And the problem with that is that Vince didn't want those guys. Vince had no plans for those guys. And so you basically got, when NXT was really hot, the one thing about them is you knew guys were going to move up. And so you constantly had this rotation and you constantly had this thing going on. And that stopped happening. And so then it became very flat. It became very stale. And it amazes me that they changed it to what they did, which is basically FCW. I really wonder if USA is going to be okay with that long term, because I can't see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be a big thing because it'll be all guys that it'll be people who Vince sees as stars and who maybe other people kind of see that, especially that over 50 group, and they'll tune in and it'll get a lot of viewers, but it'll be interesting to see. Personally, I'm amazed that they just didn't go through with the WWE Evolve thing, where you basically had the C show with the indie guys on it, and then you had Evolve, which would be the show where you had all of these young guys, and that was really the developmental, right? That's really what it was, because the whole thing with NXT, of course, spawned off the idea from Heyman and Shane McMahon of what they wanted ECW to be in WWE, which was, FCW was where guys learned and got their basis and did all of that, and then we'll bring the guys from FCW up. We'll have them in ECW. That will get them ready for live TV, and then they go with that. And so I'm just wondering. I mean, it did well in the ratings. I wonder how much of that was just people curious, and the fact that they actually promoted the hell out of it for once, which is something they haven't been doing. So it'll be interesting to see long term how this goes. So we're some of the best on earth, but hey, the writing was on the wall. Yep, according to wanted to do, make Evolve the actual developmental. Yeah, and that's what they should have done. I mean, I don't think, or call it whatever you want, call it, NXT Junior, whatever. But that's where the developmental really should have been. But I think, I still believe this. I think Vince, after, Dynamite or AEW pretty much slaughtered NXT, I think he basically saw NXT as a complete failure and said, okay, let's just take it all the way back to FCW. Let's forget the rest of it, because I don't see these guys as a star. And, and that's part of the problem, is he doesn't see these people as stars. And, you now have people on AEW who he definitely didn't see as stars, like Ruby Soho, who, was one of the most, she's so over. It's crazy. And, and you look at Adam Cole, who we all knew was going to be, should have been brought up however long ago, wasn't brought up, would have been crazy over when he was brought up, is crazy over now. It's just, it's very It's definitely something, right? It's definitely something. And then we go to Dynamite, right? And no one was like, this week's Dynamite was like a setup show. Everyone saw it as a setup show. Everyone kind of was looking at it kind of weird because, hey, it's this big show. I think this show was going to be like their second largest show or largest show ever, and up to this point. And then it was a lot, but it felt like not a great show. And then it turned out to be a really good, eventful show that was setting up the craziness that is next week. Um, and Thunder. I always call it Thunder because I have that stuck in my head. Rampage, which was pretty good. I mean, the Brit and Soho exchange was amazing. And but because it had so little hype, I think, and no one was expecting it to get a good rating, and it still beat Raw, which was kind of a thing, and it was kind of like crazy. And then next week, between Dynamite and between Rampage, it's going to be crazy. And then they announced that finally that the Suzuki and Archer versus Moxley and Kingston match would be a lights out match, a fucking lights out match. Holy shit! I mean, all of those matches have pretty much ruled. I mean, it's a pretty high standard. So we're just going to get absolutely craziness. You're getting on TV. We're getting a non-title match versus Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson on TV. It'll probably go to a 20-minute draw. I don't know. Just kind of crazy stuff. Just like completely loaded stuff. We're finally, we're getting Punk on Rampage. So that's something versus Hobbs. So that'll be something. I mean, it's next week looks really, really crazy. And so WWE announced, we're going to do the 6-man that they said they were going to do. So just kind of amazing to me that and it's good. It is good. I mean, a lot of people are like, hey, WWE's hot-shotting and that doesn't work. And while that's true, but at least it's forcing WWE to do something. And that's, I think, the bigger issue is that at least they're forcing them to do something where I think the last probably 5-6 years they've been fine with just not doing anything. And it's pretty good stuff. So Marquine keeps talking about Suzuki and the tour and the fact that is he going to take it seriously? Looks like he is. So let's get on with that craziness from last night. So we had a 6-way scramble match, which opened the show, which was really good. Was crazy. Had a bunch of crazy spots, which is what you would expect. Was a complete spot fest, but in the best way. I really liked that match. I thought the match was a lot of fun, and was what really set the standard. I think not set the standard, but really after the last GCW show I saw, it was really like it got me happy to be watching this show where I was really scared I was just going to be like having to sit through a long show to watch Suzuki and Grisham. And that wasn't the case, luckily enough. Not that this was a great show by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was a good show. But it's gonna definitely be where how much you like GCW. And it's weird because like a lot of people watch GCW and they're just like, man, I'm just not for me. But they're like selling out like crazy right now. And so that was good. Then we had two Cold Scorpio versus Effy. Effy, and this was long too. This was almost like 14 minutes, which is to me too long for a Scorpio match, especially with a guy like Effy, who not that Effy's bad, but he's just not the right guy to be like in there with like Scorpio for that long, because you need a guy in there that's just gonna like bump all over the place and do some crazy spots and kind of do stuff so that until Too Cold can kind of do his stuff, and that's not what we got. And so the match was just kind of like there. It was okay-ish, I would say. So yeah. Then we had Alex Zayne versus Jordan Oliver. I will be completely honest. I am not the biggest Jordan Oliver fan. I see Jordan Oliver and I'm just like, oh my God. I just can't. I do not. I and this is not a diss against him. I really feel like he is at the spot he is in like the indie world because the indie wrestling was so like dry of talent. But Alex Zane was like really good in this match. He was a lot of fun in this match, and he made this match good stuff. And it was just kind of like cool. So that was fun. Then we had Atticus versus Ninja Mack. I really like Ninja Mack matches when he can just go in there and just do his like crazy spotty shit. I just do. I like that. Atticus is not the guy, and it was evident that Atticus was not going to do that kind of match. And it was like, okay, this is not okay. This was just not fun. And thing is, with Ninja Mac matches, they're usually fun, and this was not fun. This was just kind of there. Didn't really do anything. We got the skewer spot, which we see the skewer spot so much that it's like, eh. Saw somebody say that on Twitter, and they were absolutely right. It's like you see it so many times that it just doesn't do anything. So yeah. Then we had a surprisingly good match. I think we had the second gear crew of AJ Gray, Mance Warner, Matthew Justice taking on Lucas Riley. Is that right? Yeah, Nick Wayne and Starboy Charlie. This was a lot of fun. It was probably too long. I will say that. This match didn't need to go 15 minutes. Probably could have gone 10 minutes and would have been much better. Because once they just started like doing stuff, and once they started like hitting all their stuff, this was like really, really, really good. They just, like I said, they probably just went too long. But it is what it is. But I still really like that. I would say that was fun. Then we had Alex Colon versus G-Raver. Went for like 20 minutes. They did some cool stuff, I guess. It was just like, it was a death match, and it wasn't even like I would say a death match that you needed to see. It was just a death match to be a death match in a lot of ways. I mean, there was some cool, innovative stuff, but it was nothing that made me like got really excited. To be honest, it was just like, eh. Then we had Chris Dickinson versus Jacob Fatu. Okay. I don't watch GCW a lot, so maybe I don't understand. How the fuck was this a DQ? How? I don't understand this. This match was going along pretty good. It looked like it was going somewhere, and then we get a DQ finish. I'm just like, what the fuck? I just, epic beard. So yeah, it was. No, I'm not dissing anybody. Like I liked it. I liked it up until we just got like a fuck finish for no apparent reason. Markeem is asking. He thought I was going to diss his boy. I'm not going to diss your boy. I thought both guys are good enough where they should be able to go in there and put on a really good match. And instead we got like this stuff. And it was like, why would you do this? I mean, I'm guessing there was a reason. I'm guessing it looks like maybe they were setting up a tag team match down the road, but you could have done that and still had a finish, right? Right. Okay. So then we had a match that actually got a lot of pub, which was Tony Deppen versus Ron Funches. This was long. Another is like 15 minutes. It didn't need to go 15 minutes. It could have gone 10. I was there for both of them, and I would say that it was maybe better. So yeah. But what was that? Oh yes. Tony Deppen and Ron Funches went too long. They had a lot of like fun stuff happen. But people that it seemed like the people there live really liked it. So that was good. The crowd was really into it. They were into like everything that like happened. It was a little too overly booked, I would say, with having Danhausen out there, and I like Danhausen. And then you had the turn, and then it was like, but it was fun. It was what it probably needed to be. It was still probably better than a lot of people thought it would be. It didn't need to go like 15 minutes though. 15 minutes is like, eh. But it was a lot of fun. So there was that. Then we had the main event, which was Suzuki versus Jonathan Grisham. I had a very high standard for this match. I was expecting a lot out of this match, so I was a little disappointed. It was still good. It was still really good. It just wasn't as great as I was hoping for. And I'm wondering if part of that was just the style they worked. I'm sure some people probably wouldn't like that at all. But at the same time, their styles maybe were a little too, like, I don't know. Like it was really good. Marquine was really good. I just didn't think it was great. I thought it was really, really good. I just maybe I need to watch it again, but I just felt like it was really, really good. What? You heard me. Thought it was it was very well wrestled, and the mat stuff was really good. The problem was when they got to like where you get into the Suzuki part where they're like beating on each other, and that's just not Gresham's thing. Kind of took me out of it a little bit. I still liked it. I still thought it was really good. I loved the end of it. But yeah, I thought it was like really, really good. I just didn't think it was great. I thought it was almost great. I just didn't think it was great. Okay, I didn't think it was great. I thought it was really good though. Marquine, how great did you think it was, Marquine? Like, how great did you think this match was? I'm sure we're not that far off. I thought it was like 3 4/4. So, like, what did you think this was? Like 4.5? Because it wasn't that. It definitely wasn't that. It was really good. It just wasn't great. So yeah, but it was a good show. But the end of the end. So they're sitting there. Gresham leaves, and then finally, and they said that he was there. 3 4/4. Oh, no, it's not 3. Whatever. Oh, 3 3/4. Did I say 4 4/4? 3 3/4. But anyways, so Suzuki's out there, he's doing his thing, and then Gage comes out, gets absolutely mobbed. Absolutely, like it is insane how over he is with this crowd. Like it is just like I literally thought wrestlers were gonna have to come back out of the back and like just start like throwing dudes, because it was like just like it was insane stuff to see. And he is like crazy. It is like crazy over. And so he comes out, it's him and Suzuki. I guess that will be the October show in LA, and they're also going to be doing another blood sport, which would be really, really, really cool. And Josh Barnett's already kind of hinted that his boy Suzuki might be there. I would think he would be on that show. I would be shocked. He has said that don't get your hopes up for Bryan Danielson, even though he knows they know each other, but don't expect that. And he was kind of like, don't expect Gresham either, which kind of sucks, because those are the two dudes, not even together, but you would expect those two guys. But I would expect on that show a lot of New Japan dudes. I'd expect a lot of the New Japan Dojo dudes will be on that show, and that's not a bad thing. I would even expect that we may actually get like some some blah 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 blah, some some stuff. I can't even think of what I was going to say now. Some stuff. But yeah, but we'll get some stuff. We'll get like Bandito can draw, and Roosh could definitely draw. So yeah, yeah. I could see Carl Frederick. I could see like most of the dojo roster. You know. I mean, you don't think Sakuraba's going to be or Sakuraba? Listen to me, Sakuraba. Sakuraba on that show would be awesome, but I mean that's definitely not going to happen. But yeah, you could definitely just see those dudes being in that and like being in that and all of that. So yes, Moxley versus Gage. But that happens what? That happens at the end of this month, right? Moxley versus Gage. So yeah. First your brother in ML. Yeah, but there were actually fans at MLW. That was kind of the difference, I would say. That the not having fans thing just completely killed ROH. Just completely killed ROH. So, kind of what are you going to do type of thing. But yeah, and then so that was that. Roosh is probably going to AEW. At least that's where he thinks he's going. So I would expect that's probably what. No. Well, I saw the main event. The main event was awesome. And I saw the semi-main. Semi-main was really, really good. But there's nothing else on that show I really want to see. I'm probably really gonna. It's probably be the first year in. I didn't even pick and choose last year, really. That I really like pick and choose what I watch. I just can't do New Japan. I just can't do it. I am not, unfortunately, the highest in the room currently. So yeah. So I will kind of pick and choose what I watch. I just hope that by the time we get to Wrestle Kingdom, that things are at least semi back to normal. I mean, I don't know. It's so hard. It's just so hard to care about anything and there right now. I mean, it's not as bad as like CMLL. That's like crazy. So yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. That's good and wonderful. I don't think so though. I don't think so. She's amazing. He walks into the ring and it's like he's a different person. Oh yeah, it's cool. I hope that at some point we get Ishii and well, really, I just hope we get Ishii in AEW. I really do. Because I feel like there's a ton of stuff that he could do in AEW, especially him and him and Miro. Everyone wants to see that. So I mean, that's a. I don't know how great that match would be because I don't know if Miro has it in him, but I hope he has it in him because I think that'd be a really fun match. So yeah. And then who else? I think that's it. I think that's all I can think of to really like want to. Oh, I guess we could talk about Dark Side of the Ring. I'm sure people don't want to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, but Dark Side of the Ring. So especially the Light from Hell. Main event for Grand Slam. I'm guessing you're saying Omega and Danielson. I think it's going to be a draw. I think that's the only way they can do it is a draw. I think it'll be like, I think they will say it's 30 minutes. Everyone will know. I think they're going to go like for a draw and just for craziness sake. I can't see them beating him again, but it is what it is. I can't see them beating Omega again. I just can't. So, but the Dark Side of the Ring, Plane Flight from Hell, right? So, if you were around at the time it happened, nothing that was in Dark Side of the Ring was all that new. I would say 90% of the stuff was stuff that people knew. Now, as a lot of people have said, the difference is that you actually had people talking about it. You had the stewardess talking about it. You had all of that stuff, talking about everything that happened to them. That so that makes a difference. And by all means, I think Tommy Dreamer was being dumbass jock Tommy Dreamer. Ric Flair was definitely being Ric Flair. All of those things we knew going in. Probably not to the severity, maybe, but that's what happened. And then people, and what's gotten me is not that people want people punished for what happened now, 20 years later, because that's I completely understand that. It's that people are shocked that stuff. I got news for you. That stuff still goes on. What you saw or what happened is very much alpha male sports dudes being alpha male sports dudes. And if you've never been around alpha male sports dudes, then you probably don't understand that, don't know that. But that's how they are, unfortunately. To this, and it's not as bad as I would say, like as it once was, but it's still really bad. And that in lies the problem, because a lot of these guys are that type of person. And Ric Flair has probably never been told no most of his life, because he's Ric Flair, and that's a problem. You have top tier athletes that people know are going to be top athletes when they're like in junior high. Those dudes aren't told no, and that's why they end up having problems later, is because someone tells them no, or someone tells them that's not what I want to do, and it's a problem. And and that's a massive part of this. And I've saw people saying, well, why didn't people report this? And I'm like, people have reported this, but you also have to remember that like the main news guys for pro wrestling still have a very sports news mentality. And when you have a sports news mentality, it's very different. It's not what people want to pretend that the reporting is. It's not it's not investigative reporting to an extent. It's very much, hey, here's the news, and yeah, sports dudes are kind of dicks, and we're not going to talk about that. I mean, you can go back, like my brother, right? My brother, his entire life played sports with Adam Dunn, who used to play for the Reds, and Josh Beckett, the pitcher from way back when. His entire life, he played sports with those guys. He knew those guys, and he would tell you that they both had egos because they were that good, and because they both had egos, they both could be dicks. He said the difference is that Adam Dunn was a dick and didn't care. Josh Beckett was a dick, would catch himself, and would be like, okay, I'm being a dick, I need to stop. And that was the difference. And if you know those two guys, that doesn't seem like it was like that is, but I can tell you firsthand that's exactly how both of them were, at least when they were like in their early 20s. And they're not the only ones. So you always have to keep like that in mind. That and sports reporters are horrible, horrible, especially people, even people my age, because they were brought up, you know, kind of hit over the head with this stuff. That what happens in the locker room? There's this stuff, and then we don't really report on that because that's not good for the business of sports. It's the same thing as like the steroids scandal, right? In baseball, one of the things that people do not talk about is that, for a long time, these sports writers pretty much see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil when it came to steroids until they absolutely had to. That's one of the things that and that's not the only thing like that. It's always been like that in sports, and people don't really get that. But it is what it is. Let's see. Saw what happened. Doesn't get canceled. Didn't see it from what I can tell. It gets canceled for into a different conclusion. No, I would say it was Dreamer saying stupid shit that got him in trouble. That's the problem. You can't say stupid shit. You just can't do it. And he didn't even realize he said stupid shit. Because if he realized he said stupid shit, he would have said, "Hey, I said stupid shit. It didn't come off the way I wanted it to." But there were lots of people that saw what happened. The plane flight from hell was not the only plane flight from hell. It was just the worst of the like 3 or 4 flights that were like that at the time. And so, it's a little crazy. It's a little. So, it's and that's the one thing I think that people just can't seem to grasp, especially when it comes to, I think, pro wrestling circles, is you have a lot of people who report and follow and talk and blog about pro wrestling, and they you can tell that they've never really followed sports really closely, because there's a lot of things they get upset about that are very much sports centric things. And it's not that you shouldn't get upset about, but they don't understand what they're really getting upset about. And that's, to me, the bigger issue. Because it's not that these aren't issues, because they're definitely issues. There's definitely parts of pro wrestling that are massive issues that need to be changed. And, I've watched pro wrestling enough that I can see how things have changed, and they've definitely changed. They haven't changed enough, but they've definitely changed. But you're definitely like walking that thin line, and I think that's can't be kind of stressed enough to a lot of degree. But anyways, that's right. It was a horrible thing, and unfortunately, stuff like that continually happens, and until stuff like that stops happening, I think that's one of the big. Yeah, I mean that's how wrestling was for a long time, and also that's how sports media definitely is, because they don't talk bad, especially about like mega stars. Doesn't happen at all. Like, I'll give you an example, and people will get mad at this. If Jeter was in another market other than New York, people would look at Jeter in a very different way, because there are sports people who would have reported about things on Jeter a different way than they did. I will put it that way. So it is that, because if Jeter hadn't been in New York, here's a good example. Hadn't been in New York, and people will get mad when I say this. When A-Rod came to New York, it would have been like, oh, well, Jeter's moving to third. That's what it would have been. It would not have been, oh well, A-Rod's gonna move because that's Jeter's spot. Wouldn't have cared. It would have been another city. It would have been like, bet because it was Jeter and it was New York. Well, and no one batted an eye. Nobody said a thing because the New York sports media still controls so much of the media, especially sports wise. Well, all wise is actually, but and people kind of need to remember that they're trying to look at things through like a wider scope, and sometimes you need to take a step back and you need to look at it through a sports scope, and then things make a little bit more sense. Yes, Flair has always been kind of a degenerate, so yeah. A lot of people in wrestling as and live, frame breeds. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Hollywood is Hollywood. But again, it's a lot of people who aren't told no. And they get to a point where, they have the power that if they're told no, it doesn't really matter. So, that's the thing. There's personal responsibility, but there's also people need to realize there's more going on than what most people see or most people want to see, I think. But that is that. But what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? But it does look like we're finally going to get. We should also bear in mind. Already was waiting to blow the whole spot up. There you go. You can tell. But what else to talk about? I think we talked about. Yeah, we talked. Me and Chase talked about Shang-Chi already. I think I don't really even talk about that. I did about What If. That show's a little weird. And in that I mean the way that people reacting to it, because I don't know what people expected out of some. Yeah, I think Ross looks at it like it's his fault, but also like there wasn't much he could do. I think it's one of those like things. And also keep in mind Ross has been around that stuff probably most of his life, so there's a lot of it that is he's probably somewhat numb to as well. That was a different flight. That was a different flight. Like there was a lot of stuff that people said that was on this flight that was probably on one of the other flights, because this wasn't the only flight that was like that. It was just the worst one. Yes, the last episode of What If was really good. Thought the first episode was kind of just it was interesting in the way that they handled things, but it wasn't that much different. I wasn't big on the second episode. I really liked the third. I didn't watch the zombie episode because I'm not into zombies and that's just not my thing. The Doctor Strange episode was very interesting, I think. So there was that, and then yeah, the last episode was like good too, but yeah. Because what was the second episode? The second episode was was that the Star-Lord episode? Well, no Horseman reunion at the moment. You know, I would expect. I wouldn't be shocked if things blow over. Yeah, I didn't like that episode. I got a lot of people really like that episode, and I did not like that episode only because it felt so out of place, even though I knew what they were doing and I completely got what the story was supposed to be. I just was like, I couldn't get into it, so it was that. The that third episode though, that was some stuff. I really liked that episode, but yeah. Yeah, I agree. I liked. There were moments in there that were good, but overall, that it was like, I get you were trying to do an ode to him, but at the same time, it was so heavy-handed that it didn't come off well. So, oh, I didn't even talk about on Dynamite. Freaking Rosario Dawson being crazy, trying to get herself killed by Malachi Black. That was a thing. The best part of that was just being on Twitter and seeing all the dudes being like, "Man, don't fuck with my girl. Don't fuck with my girl," because it's the XPW episode, that'll be interesting. That will be interesting. Yeah, it probably will get a lot of people in trouble, but some of them probably kind of should be in trouble in some ways, so, or at least change things. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, the XPW episode, that'll be interesting. That'll be. Don't know. Don't really follow MLW because I don't have Vice. So the FMW show, yeah, I forgot they were even doing an FMW show. But yeah, that should be fun too. The FMW show. Hopefully it's less an FMW like show and more of just like the history of him. I think that would be of Onita. I think the history of Onita would be really good. Well, be honest, they should. Because this Canyon stuff was like, yeah. There was a lot. There's so much stuff with the Canyon stuff that is absolutely nuts. And, you know, though I think some of it you can put up with, like, hey, 20 years ago, this was acceptable even in society, but it's not now. And I think it's going to be how people handle that part of it of hey, you know, we all were just a bunch of bigoted fools at the time. I think if you have people actually say that, it'll be okay, but I don't expect people to say that. So oh, I'm sure he is, because I'm sure they're going to show that clip. So, and Taker too is probably going to get thrown like in the mud too. No. They need to keep. There's nobody from XPW that I can think of that should ever be on there. So I think those are the two that are going to look the worst. But we'll see. Supreme's dead, isn't he? I think so. Anyways, I think that's probably all I have to really talk about. I think, I think. Oh, there was already last thing. I hadn't finished that, but yeah, that was crazy. Especially seeing everyone on Twitter like freak out and be like, "Man, don't be like." That was something. And then freaking Cody saying, "Don't mess with a Jedi." That was even funnier. I don't expect anything. So here's my thing with the G1. I think if it had a crowd, it would be fine. Because I think even with the not top tier people, I think it would be fine. It wouldn't be amazing, but I think it would be fine. The problem is that not anyone actually being there. But on the flip side, if the COVID stuff keeps the Bullet Club bullshit to a minimum, it'll make things a ton better too. So yeah. So that will make things. It will not. It will not. It will not. It won't make it better, or it will not stop it. I'm not saying it'll stop it. I'm just saying it'll keep it to not as bad as it could be. Because you're still gonna have it, because yeah, but it won't be like 10 guys coming in. It'll just be like one or two. That's the difference. Or like, I mean, I know. Dick Togo needs to like, I don't know. That boy needs to go away. He just needs to go away. And I hate saying that. Supposedly he wasn't on that plane, so there you go. What do you think of this? Why are you asking me about XPW stuff? It never should come back. It was a bad idea to start with. All right. I think he was. I think he's out now. As far as Rob Black being in prison, I think. I don't know. But, yeah. I'm going to go. It's getting late. I've got to work extra early in the morning. I had hoped to pop on just for a little bit, but not so much. But anyways, you guys all have a good night. Thank you very much. And I will check you guys later. I might do one of these Thursday, maybe. We'll see. I was planning on doing one this Thursday, but yeah, didn't happen. And then Friday, and then yesterday was not going to be the day because there was just way too much stuff to be doing. So we'll see. But anyways, thanks everybody. Have a good one. I will check you guys later.